it started sparking me to kind of like start looking at, where's the mindset? How's the difference? We're told that we've got to stand out, but when we do, we get hatred, we get trolls, we get the unsubscribes, we get laughed at. How do we continue? So I put this book together to try to create an understanding and an acknowledgement that you need to change your mindset. And we can change our mindset in 1 nanosecond. You know, someone says something, and just by you turning around and going, I don't accept that comment, is you changing your mindset. You getting a cup of coffee and it being lukewarm because it's like the last bit in a pot and just going, excuse me, the coffee. Don't want to be rude, but I think I just got the end of the pot. Do you mind waiting until it's a fresh pot and giving me one of those? Just that kind of standard.
Hey, you guys, welcome back to Home-Based Revolution. We're about to have, I don't know, probably a blast with my friend Steve Sims. Every time we get together, how long have we known each other? It's been years at this point.
Oh, it's been years, but it feels so much longer. For good reason. For good reasons.
Okay, we'll take that. That's going to be a clip we'll take out, and it'll be amazing. So, you guys, I'm going to read to you this bio. So those of you listening on the podcast are like, what's happening right now? I've got to read this because it's so solid that I can't even paraphrase. So this is happening right now. So did you know of anyone that's worked with Sir Elton John or Elon Musk, sent people down to see the wreck of the Titanic on the seabed, or closed museums in Florence for a private dinner party, and then had Andrea Bocelli, I can't even say it right, serenade them while they eat their pasta? Well, you do now. Quoted as the real-life Wizard of Oz by Forbes and Entrepreneur magazine, Steve Sims is a best-selling author with Bluefishing, The Art of Making Things Happen, and Go for Stupid, The Art of Achieving Ridiculous Goals. Sought after coach, top-rated speaker, after keynoting at a variety of networks, groups, and associations, as well as the Pentagon and Harvard twice. So, welcome, Steve Sims. I mean, I don't even know how people speak after you at an event, because it's like, what do you even, all of us are just showing up with, I mean, I talked somewhere and I did some things, but not really, to that level. Well, your background, I think, is the most interesting part of this, because when people listen, maybe to podcasts like this or in podcasts in general, right? They're listening with a filter of, yeah, that might be cool for them, but what about me? I don't know if I can do that, right? And you kind of blow all of that out of the water. Tell us about, your upbringing, and then also just the mind of the person that goes from who you were to what you're doing now.
Well, for a start, I love it when people go, oh, that couldn't be me, or I couldn't do that, because it makes it easier for me. Yeah. But I was an irritated, curious kid, and irritated because, like all entrepreneurs, we know we're meant to do something, we just don't know what. And when you put that in a big, ugly body like mine, that didn't come across well. It came across that I was kind of searching for trouble, but I was actually searching for an answer. I was searching for something to lock and load. And we know as entrepreneurs, when we can't find what it is that we can impact and actually work on, then we end up doing a turkey shoot, and that's never good. I ended up becoming a bricklayer on my dad's firm because I got kicked out of school because, typical kind of, oh, you never concentrate, oh, you're never focused in class. Well, we all had that, didn't we? I ended up on a building site in East London and suddenly thought, is this it? Is this my life? And we all look in our life for that pivot. I think I've got a million of them. And as Joe Polish said, I think they're dominoes, and they just send me off in different directions. But it was that question, is this it? That I could have responded with, yes, it is. Settle, get used to it, Steve. Your dad's in it. Because bearing in mind, in the 80s and 90s, we were coming off the first kids from the war. So, we had that mentality of I'm older than you, but we had the mentality given to us from our parents that get a stable job, work through it until you're about to die, and then get a pension, and that's what we were told. And let's be blunt, in the 80s and 90s, if you said you were an entrepreneur, that was because you couldn't get a real job. And you were probably selling stolen car audios out the back of your car. So that was the kind of ethos it had. It certainly wasn't revered as the rock star you have now. You go home to mum and go, well, I'm launching companies because I'm an entrepreneur. And all of a sudden, your mum's fascinated. I'm fascinated if my kids say that. But our parents back then was like, well, why can't you get a job down at the coal mine or something? That was the kind of ethos they had. So I had just this curiosity that I could have settled like most of the planet does. Or I could have turned right when everyone was turning left. And of course, turning right, you're going against the grain. And that's where all the trolls and the haters and the sarcasm, that's where that all goes. And so, but I had to try it. And so I went out trying to hang around with successful people, because let's be serious, in the 80s and 90s, we didn't have Instagram or YouTube to show us how inadequate we were. So we didn't have any of that. But we also didn't have podcasts. We didn't have these kind of lives. We didn't have the chance for us to go, hey, Martha, you can work from home. Hey, hang on a minute. Not only can you work from home, you can dominate from home. You can live the life. We didn't have those conversations. Yeah. That's what other people had. So I just went out to try and find successful people. Along the way, learned that I was ill-qualified to do a million jobs. And then suddenly found out that I just had a knack of not seeing the fear in asking the question. I was the kid, and we've all got kids, and it's the kid that goes, hey, I want a lollipop. You can't have a lollipop, but I want a lollipop. It's nearly dinner, so I want a lollipop. That's just relentless. My wife has always said that I'm a 55-year-old, 5-year-old. I didn't have that fear of asking, and then when I got over the ignorance of, hang on a minute, I'm asking, I'm not frightened. Then I got surprised the fact that I was actually getting what I asked for, and everyone else was fear-trodden. Everyone else was paralyzed with the preconceived parameters and ceilings that they installed. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that was my mindset. I was just stunned that other people were so happy to kind of like be where they were.
Yeah. Well, and are they happy to? Like, are they happy to, or are they just scared to death not to? Right? Like
both. People love the comfort in knowing where they are. Bear the devil, know your lane, stick to your place, don't step out of your back. We've all heard these statements. Yeah. The entire world, and bear in mind, entrepreneurs make up about 8% of the planet, but 92% of the planet work for those 8%. So those 8%, we're the weird kids. We're the ones at school when they turn around and go, well, look, what's the answer to this quiz? And you look at it and you go, well, there's 10 different answers. And the teachers go, no, there's only the answer. And if you don't tick that box, then it's wrong. And as entrepreneurs, we're like, well, why does it have to be wrong? Yeah. Why can't it be a combination of this? In fact, why are we even looking at that as being the answer? Why don't we look at why it's a problem in the first place? That's how we look at things. But we're classed as wrong from a very early age. So I think a lot of the planet have the sheep mentality of being taught, nope, this is how it is. This is how it's always been. And if you step out of line, oh, it's going to hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I as you're talking, like, I'm just imagining so many people so I'm imagining 3 different things and I need to get a sentence out here. So I'm wondering how many people are actually born like us, because I know that there's stats that say, well, there are some people that are like us and there are some people that are not, right? And it's kind of like a neurodivergence and sort of that thing. I'm wondering how many people are actually born like this, and I feel like the number's bigger than we think, and then they just get, batted into being the version of the person that's, schooled and taught to think a certain way and blah, blah, blah. I just wonder, what are your thoughts on how many of us are actually born to be the rebels and to be the person that thinks outside of the box, but it's conditioning in society that actually puts us, that makes more, sheep, I guess, in your verbiage there.
Yeah, I reckon there is, for every maybe 10 entrepreneurs, there's probably 30 that have been trodden down. And a lot of the problems actually come from the coffee shop. You're sitting in a room, you got your buddies around you, and you're like, I don't like my life and I want to do this, but I'm really good at painting, so I'm going to do this and I'm going to put that on T-shirts and I'm going to sell those T-shirts and then I'm going to get a store. And as you're doing that and making sense of it, everyone around you is looking at you like a deer in headlights, like you've just gone mad. And that's the moment two things happen. One, you have to dilute your dreams and go, oh, hang on a minute. Sorry, don't know what happened. Someone must have spiked my coffee. Or you make the uncomfortable decision, I'm at the wrong table. Now, both of us, we've been in various masterminds together. And we get to tables where we go, well, I want to do this, I want to do this. And the table turns around and goes, is Martha, is that it? I thought there was more out of you. You're telling me you're going to sell for just X? And you're like, shit, no, I'm going to. And we're challenged up.
Yeah.
But a lot of the planet is dragged down. And now we're in an environment today, and we shouldn't be, but we're in an environment now where we're not actually scared of trying. We're scared of getting laughed at. And I find that kind of ridiculous that's what people are trying. We're not worried about going broke. We're not worried about failing because that's where the education is. We're worried about tripping up, someone seeing it and making it into a loop, and all of a sudden we're boomeranged on TikTok.
Yeah.
That isn't that just, I won't swear, but isn't that just wrong?
Yeah.
That's where our fear is?
Yeah. No, 100%. That's it. I think I talked about it on a live recently, that same thing. It's our fear that somebody else is going to, think poorly of us or laugh at us or whatever. But the fear is inside of what they might think. It's not even that they will think, because the most interesting thing is a lot of people just don't even think about us anyway. We're so scared of what other people are going to say about us. Most people aren't thinking about us anyway. So our fear is unfounded for 99%,
Yep.
So it's if we could just get out, if we could just get out of our own way, get into the right rooms. So Steve, what would you say for somebody who is just starting out or just starting to realize, oh my gosh, my dreams might have validity. They may have legs. What if I could just get in the right room? What are your suggestions for people to get into the right rooms? What would you say to them?
Well, for a start, your dreams do have legs. If they're your dreams, then they have value. Now, here's the funny thing, and me and you know this. How many times have we worked on something to realize that what was the profit was actually not what we were working on, but an element of what we were working on?
Yep.
Or when we were working on something and it failed, to suddenly reveal something that was 10 times more. Look at the classic failure, Coca-Cola. It was invented as a medicine for when you had an upset stomach, and now it's the number one soft drink in the planet, okay? If you look at what it was invented for, that was a massive failure, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Probably the wealthiest failing in the planet. So quite often what you're working on may not always be the final destination, but it definitely contributes to the journey. So if you got the dream, you're already winning ahead. We don't have to risk like we used to. We don't have to risk setting up a shop, setting up a website. You could very simply just go onto your Facebook page and just go, hey, I've got a problem with cat hair on my couch. And I've come up with, does anyone else have a problem with cat hair? And all of a sudden start to find out if there's actually a marketplace out there. And then you can develop from there. And then you can join Facebook groups and YouTube channels and subscribe to great podcasts and communities. None of this, by the way, is costing any money yet. Okay? And just get people's opinions. Now, here's the Indiana Jones moment. There are coaches out there that have achieved great success and failings and can coach. There are coaches out there that are brilliant at achieving remarkable things or overcoming obstacles, and they coach. And then there are coaches out there that read the books and coach. And there's a massive difference. And you've got to be able to go through and understand, are you speaking from substance and from history that you actually did it? Or did you go to last Tuesday's webinar and now you think this is how you're going to make a buck? And so you've got to learn to sift through that garbage. But us getting to quality information today has never been easier. Just trust your gut and not your eyeballs.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for that. There's something that I usually tell my people, and it's whenever you're looking for somebody to learn from, do you want to be where they are? And that's not the end of the sentence, right? That's usually the end of the sentence. You follow somebody who is where you want to be, blah, blah, blah. Do you want to be where they are in the way they got there, right? In that same way, because some people have gotten to their success in ways that you will not duplicate. You don't want to do the things that they did in order to get where they are. Not to say that it's malicious or whatever, but maybe they messaged 100 people a day in order to get where they are. Well, do you want to do that? No. Well, then don't follow them, right? Like you have to know that and do something that's actually going to be sustainable for you. So finding out good mentors is solid. What about like for people in a local, and then I want to talk about your book. I want to talk about your book. What about with people in like a local situation, kind of like getting into rooms where they've got more open-minded people, you know? So like, what do you think? Like meetups? I know I started out, believe it or not, the stuffy Chamber of Commerce is where I started out. So lots of white button-down shirts and blue suits is what I was surrounded with while I had my Lululemons and a t-shirt on. But like what would you suggest locally before they start getting, so they can be at the tables with people that are like edifying their dreams and saying, yeah, that's real. Yeah, you can do that instead of the other.
You say about being in the Chamber of Commerce, you've usually got to know where you don't fit by first visiting there. And then we're quite often in rooms that you just go, well, this doesn't work. The smart person is the one that realizes it quickly and saves your time and moves on. I joined, and this will make you laugh, I joined the Palm Beach Yacht Club.
Oh, my word.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Because I thought to myself, okay, I live just outside of Palm Beach in a place called Delray Beach. And Palm Beach Yacht Club, everyone in there's got a yacht that starts off at like about $5 million. That's the room I want to be in. But no one would share on how they got there.
Oh.
No one was open. It was all kind of like very superficial, and no one was actually having a conversation. It was like, "How's your day? You're great, good. God, look at my shiny yacht. Yeah, great. And I've got a matching car. Brilliant. Can you tell me what you failed at that got you there? Oh, we don't want to ash over those things." And we got that kind of environment. So Alex Shah, from for argument's sake, is a constant talker about momentum, okay? Momentum's not a bad thing, but sometimes it'll be painful. By you trying things, it won't work. I guarantee you when you start, now you're a great girl. You've got great charisma, you're beautiful, all that kind of stuff. Sure as hell the first podcast you did sucked. The first time you started doing social videos, it was more than likely uncomfortable. Because Ari Meisel says, get going, and then focus on getting good. Yeah. And it's those people that are scared of that momentum. You've got to know the good room by getting into a bad one. You've got to know how to have a good conversation by having a bad conversation. You've got to know how to ask good questions by first of all asking bad ones. And again, you don't even have to get into a room yet. You can start getting on meetups digitally. You can get into Zoom rooms. You can get into webinar rooms. So you can do it from the safety and security of your own sofa before you actually put on your lipstick and actually go out to an actual room because I've been to rooms and I would, luckily because I'm on a motorbike, I could always park it. The engine hadn't even cooled down and I was getting back on the thing because it was just so badly the wrong room for me. But you've got to be able to decide, discover, and act quickly. Can this room work for me? And that's why I'm a great believer that people need to be more selfish. They need to be selfish with their time, their energy, their focus, and who they're looking after. And if I'm leaving my gorgeous wife to go to a networking event, well, that event better be bloody good, you know? And if I get into that room and I'm like, no, this isn't it, I'm on the bike and I've gone home again. And Claire will tell you the amount of times that she's just, I've left and then I'm back within the hour. She's like, great event. I'm like, nope. So I just came home. You gotta be willing to do the donkey work. It's not gonna be a hole in one on the first shot.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. So guys, just go find things to do. Go to, what is it? Eventbrite. You're gonna find events that are going on. Go to meetups. Shoot, try the chamber if you want to. There may be cool people there. It's not old and dusty everywhere. What's that?
No, you gotta. You may have even us, as crusty as we are on certain places and events. You may find it's your people, right. And bearing in mind, those people may get you to X, but they won't get you to Y, but they got you to X. Yeah. So I remember the first guy that I absolutely revered. You know, I thought he was the richest man in the world. Maybe had about $250,000 in his account, you know? And I was like, oh my God, how come you're so rich? You must own planes and things like that. But he was, to me, the Richard Branson. And then you end up working for the Richard Bransons and you're like, well, that guy never had a lot of money, but he got me to where I needed to be and he got me on the first run of that ladder. Yeah. And that's what you've got to focus. This is a ladder. And we're constantly, like me and you know, we're constantly going on events. We're constantly challenging ourselves, both online and in person, to push ourselves to, let's be honest, become the people we want to be.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I want to talk about your book. I want to talk about your new book, but I want to talk about your old book too, because it's hard to talk about your new book without talking about your old book. So if you guys haven't heard of blue fishing, you need it. You need to just go grab it. Stat. It's, you know, Amazon everywhere. Just look up blue fishing. That was a book that I literally listened to, and I know you had somebody give you some sauce on your voice. I listened to that because I like your voice. But I listened to it over and over and over again, and so did Mike, right? And what did somebody say to you?
Someone actually, I loved it. I think this is one of my favorite reviews. Who told this guy it was a good idea that he could read his own book? He can't even pronounce his R's. And that was the review. And my wife just found it hilarious. She had it as a screensaver for a little while.
Oh man, it's just
Very
fun.
evil.
It's fun to get sauce from people. So that's another lesson, truly. And when you get sauce from people, I count it as a blessing. It's nice. It's nice to have those folks.
Post it. I actually cropped it and I posted it on my Facebook and I went, not everyone's a fan. And literally, selfishly, you could see a spike on the audio sales as I posted that. And so, you know, people were curious. So if you're in marketing and advertising and they say there's no such thing as bad press, well, they're actually quite right most of the time. So, you know, post your bad reviews. I love posting bad reviews.
Oh, man. You know, I had somebody I think I was doing live yesterday or the day before, and on my live, somebody left the comment from, because, you know, the lives go everywhere. On the YouTube one, it said unsubscribe. And I wanted to like respond and be like, that's not how you do it. Like, I can show you how to unsubscribe. That's not going to work. But like, oh man, it's just fun. It's fun when folks do that. So the new one, right? Well, new-ish. It still feels new. It feels like time to stop for the last year or so. So go for stupid. So the art of achieving ridiculous goals. Tell us about it. And then you guys, you're going to be able to get it. It's free, isn't it? They have like the, okay. So tell us about it.
So I never thought I would write a second book. I was, even up until the point when we started, I was like, no, done one, written a bestseller, great, woohoo, got the badge, I'm good. But then COVID really pissed me off. It really aggravated me because I saw so many people hiding behind 1,000,001 excuses. I can't connect, I can't get out. We're on a planet where we can connect more than we've ever been able to connect in our life, yet we've never been more disconnected. And it's those excuses that are creating that disconnection. So I just couldn't understand why we were being so cruel to ourselves. And then I thought to myself, must be the day and age we're in. So I started just taking my time, just tire kicking. Wasn't me searching for a book. I'm like, have we always been horrible to each other? Or is it just now that we've got Facebook and stuff, you know? And no, we stink. It's as simple as that. You know, as humans, we don't like change. And the amount of times people on horses would actually protest Henry Ford going, your horse can't get through it, get through the trees. You know, your car's not good enough for this. And Henry Ford, there's a beautiful line from him that said, if I listened to what the people wanted, I'd have made a faster horse.
Yeah.
But he knew that that was short-lived. And so I started looking through it, and I went through Edison, and I went through Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, and I went through Mother Teresa, and I went through, as I say, Henry Ford and Walt Disney. And all of these people, my God, they got so much hatred because they were doing something different. They were doing something for a lot of people they couldn't understand. You look at Elon Musk, he went and bought Twitter. Now let's say, for argument's sake, he screwed the pooch on that. Wouldn't you like to be so successful that if you screwed the pooch on $1 billion deal, that it wouldn't upset your night?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But no, look at all the hate he got. And then when you start realizing that he had the biggest library of conversation that helped his AI, and so all of a sudden it starts to become, these people think and act differently, and more importantly, can't hear the frequency of negativity. They literally can't hear it. So it started sparking me to kind of like start looking at, well, where's the mindset? How's the difference? We're told that we've got to stand out, but when we do, we get hatred, we get trolls, we get the unsubscribes, we get laughed at. How do we continue? So I put this book together to try to create an understanding and an acknowledgement that you need to change your mindset. And we can change our mindset in 1 nanosecond. You know, someone says something, and just by you turning around and going, I don't accept that comment, is you changing your mindset. You getting a cup of coffee and it being lukewarm because it's like the last bit in a pot and just going, excuse me, the coffee. Don't want to be rude, but I think I just got the end of the pot. Do you mind waiting until it's a fresh pot and giving me one of those? Just that kind of standard. Do you suddenly go, hey, I'm not going to change my standards just because the rest of the planet is. And it started to come together, and I was actually getting a bit rude with it because it was annoying me. And I was putting out these comments and these memes, and I was having a poke at the bear at how we were becoming. And a few people started going, is this your next book? Are you going to write a book about it? And I was like, no. Okay. And I then started taking it seriously to focus on how people need to have a laughable goal. They need to have something ridiculous to go for so that when they fail, they're 500 times further ahead than if they'd have gone for what they were selling at.
Yeah. Oh, it's good. It's good. I can't wait for you guys it's to watch it, right? So like the link is in the it's where the links go. Sorry, I'm new to podcasting. Wherever you find links in this, it's there.
It's not. Look, they've just got to. They goforstupid.com.
There.
You'll find it there. It's free of charge. There's no angle. I'm not selling you hair cream or brushes or T-shirts. It's goforstupid.com. And I'll tell you why we're giving it away for free, which is probably going to help. As you said, you listened to the audiobook.
Yeah.
And as you know, writing a book is one thing. Doing the audio version is painful. You're in this little box and it's hot. And I actually felt claustrophobic. So, but I knew people liked, apart from that one guy that gave the review on my voice, I knew people liked listening to the book that was spoken by the author. And so, being in Hollywood, we got more studios than we have Starbucks. So I turned around to a friend of mine and said, look, can we do it in the studio? And rather than me do it in a sound booth, can you just video it so I'm in a more open area? And I'll read it off the teleprompter, and then we can just scrape the audio. It'll make me feel more comfortable. Yeah. And we did that. Now, the good thing was we did the audio version, but now I'm left with 12 chapters on video. What do I do with them? So we went, well, Henry thought this up. He went, let's give them away for free. Yeah. You've sold the book. It's a bestseller. If anyone knows anything about books, let's be honest, no one's buying a house on the ocean from the sale of a book. So, I just thought to myself, yeah, I'll give it away. And if I can get someone to watch the videos and go, do you know, I need to change my circle. I need to up my game. I need to better my standards. Then I've won. So that's why the chapters are there for you for free.
I love it. I love it. So goforstupid.com if you can't find wherever the link is. I don't think I'm ever going to be, this polished up podcaster. I don't think it's ever going to be me. I think it's just always going to be like this. But
that's the beauty.
Right? Well, thank you, Steve, for coming on. Thanks for having this conversation. I think this is very important stuff. Honestly, I really do. I think it's important stuff. I think there's people out in the world and they sort of tout this entrepreneurial lifestyle as, sitting in the front of, rented Ferraris, pretending they're not rented and all of that, it's all just sugar plum fairies and whatever. Yeah. And then there's people like us that will sit at a table and say like, okay, I've got this problem. I'm working this problem out. Okay. But it's like problem solution. It's not problem. Do I quit? It's problem solution, problem solution, problem solution. And you guys are going to keep running up against problems. And it's just an opportunity for a solution. So like, it's just whenever you're having one of those issues, come back to this episode and listen to how Steve just kind of knocks out the mindset of how to be able to really just work in this space, or just go hang out with him somewhere. Go like on Instagram or on Facebook or whatever. Go to one of the speakeasies. Guys, if you haven't been to a speakeasy, real quick, I'm going to say this. You probably thought I was going to end the episode just a second ago, but I'm not. I did my first podcast with you, or video with you. It was just for the YouTube channel years ago, right? But right after we had our video, right afterward, Mike and I got tickets to your speakeasy, your next speakeasy. I can't remember which one it was. Maybe it was San Diego. I don't know. But that was the first speakeasy we had gone to. And you guys, they're so good. It's great people. It's a great room to be in. So there's great folks in the room. Steve and his family are just, bar none, they're just good humans, right? And then the stuff that you learn, you really get to cultivate that mindset of problem solution instead of problem quit. You really, when you're around other people that don't even let you go to the quit part, it's just like, it's the road ahead of you opens up. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like the road behind us is always open and we're kind of looking over our shoulder like, should I? The road ahead of you opens up, and that's just a real cool thing. So Steve, thanks for making the Steve-easies. That's what I just, the speakeasies. I've had too much coffee.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I do. We were supposed to have stopped those about 5 years ago.
But you didn't.
We literally, because every time we do them, we put a lot into them, and they wear us out. And as you know, as much as we can do the dancing bear, I like to be up in my house, with my family and my dogs and ride motorbikes and be left alone. So it wears me out. And every time I do one, I'm like, well, hope you enjoyed that. That was the last one I'm ever doing. And then it's like your fix. And you're like, well, I need my room back, and the room is a great opportunity. And you know this through your events, of being able to reach out to your friends, offer them some stage time and some exposure to a new sandpit, while still growing the relationship and having a great excuse to hang out with them again. So I don't know. I guarantee you the next one I do, straight after it, it'll be a case of, well, that was the last one as I get home and pick my next location.
Right. You guys need to just get into the Steve-osphere. Get into his world, get his emails, get into like understanding what it's like to be in that space. It's a really good space to be in. Thank you again, Steve, for coming on. I appreciate you. This has been an absolute blast. We'll see you guys next time.